lovelies, welcome back. Today I have an exciting video for you today. We are going to be making a wig, and this is the first wig that I have ever made. So you get to see me go through the trials and errors of making a wig. And so I get to share this experience with you, and you get to see me slay this lime green hair. Okay, so these are some of the materials that we first need. I have 3 14-inch bundles of hair, and they're from Sexy Hair or Sessy Hair, and that came from recommendation of Laurasia Andrea. And I also have a 14-inch closure, and look at it, it's so gorgeous. So here are the stars of the show. We have the Kiss Temptation hair dye in Limelight and Adore hair dye in Electric Lime. So I have a little basin filled with water, with warm water, and I'm going to take the Adore hair dye in Electric Lime and pretty much put like the whole bottle. And I'm going to be using the watercolor method for this. I'll also use a small basin because I wanted to make sure that the dye was concentrated, because the more water that you have, the more water you use to water down the dye. I am also taking the Kiss Temptation hair dye and putting about like 1/3 of the bottle in there. So I'm taking a whisk and I'm whisking the dyes to make sure that all the clumps are out. Okay, so now we're going to take our hair. I'm taking the first bundle and I'm kind of just dipping the ends of the hair into the dye just to make sure that it's the right color. So that's why I'm not like submerging the whole thing just yet, because I just want to really make sure it's the right color. And then once I know that this is like the perfect color, I continue to like slowly kind of dye and dunk the hair into the dye. I also start to run my fingers through the hair just to make sure that all of the strands are coated. And you just kind of repeat that process and just really make sure that all of the strands and all of the hair is saturated in the dye. Now I'm just putting a towel underneath the basin just to make sure that I don't get like all the dye everywhere and protect my surfaces. So now the hair is the perfect color for me, so I am going to take it out of the dye and just put it aside. I just put it in another container, but you can put it in like your bathtub or whatever, but I just used another container to put it to the side while I work on the other bundles of hair and the closure. So I just make sure I wring the water out just so it's not super drippy and throwing water all over the place, and that's it. So we're going to take the next bundle of hair, and if you notice, like the water is a little bit lighter than previously because like the previous bundle actually absorbed like all the dye from the water for the most part. So right now the hair is actually turning more of like the lime green, and actually that looks like the Kiss Temptation Limelight color. So I think because it's water based, but I'm not sure, but it kind of lasts longer when you do the watercolor method than the Adore dye. So right now it's dyeing pretty much this Kiss Temptation color. So once I figure that out eventually, I'm going to actually take it out of the dye and add more of the Electric Lime color from Adore, just to make it like the perfect color that I want, which is more of like a deeper electric lime green. So because I wasn't getting the saturation that I wanted, I actually left the bundles like in the actual dye and to soak for 15 minutes to really get the color in there. And so now I'm taking it out and looking at the color, and it's pretty much as close as not quite what I want, so I'm gonna dunk it in a few more times and really try to get the color, but it is close enough. It's like a really pretty electric lime. It's a little bit lighter than the previous bundle, but I wanted to get different tones of green, and that's why I'm actually dyeing the bundles separately instead of making a wig first and then dyeing the whole wig, is because I wanted, like, you know, different tones and of color that makes it look like it's like different textures and all that good stuff. So, you know, I want it to be all different, so I don't mind it being lighter than the previous bundle. So now I actually added more dye to the water just to try and get this bundle a little bit darker. I just wanted like a tiny bit darker. So I'm just really making sure that everything is saturated, and I don't know if you can even tell now, but it really is like a lime green color, the color I wanted. But it's still lighter than the first bundle. So now I am repeating the same steps, you know, just dye, dunk, make sure it's the right color, all that good stuff. And last but not least, we are dyeing the closure. Just, you know, trying to do the same thing, dye, dunk, blah blah blah. So it still like looks like light lime green, and I kind of go back over it over and over and over again to try to make it darker, but the closure still ended up being, I think, the lightest or second lightest thing that I dyed. So to dry, I actually took pants hangers and clipped the bundles and closure onto the pants hangers and hung them up to dry, and they air dried overnight and all of that. So now I am taking my dome cap and putting it on my wig head, and I'm making sure that the dome cap is symmetrical to the wig head so everything is even and that there are no wrinkles either. So now I am taking my closure first and showing you how it looks dried, and I am going to pin it to the wig head and obviously the dome cap, and I'm moving the closure a little bit past the actual cap because that's where you pretty much glue down your, you know, wig to your head, and to make sure that your skin shows through from behind or below the lace. So now I'm just using T-pins to pin all around the closure onto the dome cap. So now I'm taking the hair and, you know, tying it up and putting it out of the way so when I sew, it doesn't get caught in the thread. Now I am taking my curved needle and black thread, and we just gonna sew. So what I'm doing is sewing through the closure this time, and I am going to sew through, wrap the thread around the needle a couple of times, and then pull. And I hope that makes sense, but that's like a typical, you know, wig making technique when you're sewing a wig down. And then after that, I am just putting the needle through and then putting the needle through the loop that the thread makes when you sew, and then pulling. It's like you'll see it better when you see the video and like see me sewing, because it's like kind of hard to explain stitches. But I'm just going just straight across the back. I'm not gonna go around the whole closure in one sitting because it can cause the closure to be kind of wrinkly, or, you know, it won't lay as flat, or it will actually end up being like lopsided if you do it in all one sitting. So we're just going to sew the back first, and then one side next and the other side last. So how we like started the stitch is how we're going to end it. We're going to wrap the thread around the needle and then pull the needle through. And then that's it. This helps to secure the thread and secure the hair to the cap. And you only do this when you're starting a stitch or ending a stitch. And so I am sewing the sides and the rest of the closure. So I'm sewing the side next, and then I'll cut the thread and then sew the other side afterwards. And also what I added to the finishing of a stitch is that I knot the thread a couple of times just to really make sure that the stitching and the threading like stays put, like it ain't going nowhere. So now I moved on to the other side and pretty much, you know, doing the same thing, and it's pretty much going to be the same thing for like the next, what, like 25 minutes? Or for me, for y'all it's for 25 minutes. For me, it was like 3 days because I had to take breaks. I couldn't handle it. But here is how the stitching looks. It's very flat. You know, the closure is flat. You know, it's just, it looks perfect. I love it. So now we are actually cutting the dome cap where the closure lays, so that when you actually put the wig on your head, you can actually replicate scalp because it's showing through to the cap. Ta-da! That's how it looks. So what I did off camera is that I put on the wig cap and marked where my ears were, and those are the markers to and the start point to where you're going to sew. So I'm going to pin the wefts at the bottom of the wig starting at one ear point, and we are going to pin it all the way to the other ear point. And then we're just going to sew it the same way we did for the closure, and we're going to start it off the same way, you know, loop the thread around the needle and pull, and then knot it a few times. And that's the only stitch that goes through the actual stitch of the weft. And then other than that, when we sew, we're going to sew around the weft. So the regular stitch that we do, we're going to sew actually around the weft. So it decreases the amount of shedding that you have, and pretty much increases the longevity of your wig. So we are just going to, you know, sew the whole weft all the way across until we reach the end. So I got to the end of the stitch, and I'm actually going to do the fold over method, which is pretty literal. You're just going to fold the weft over and you know, sew it back the other side. So right now I'm pinning it, and I actually recommend pinning it like maybe 2 fingers width away from each other, because I had to take out some wefts afterwards because my hair was way too thick, especially for the length that it was. So make sure it's about 2 to 3 fingers between 2 different wefts. And yeah, so I just continue to sew for the rest of the wig. And you know, I do the fold over method for pretty much the bottom half of the wig, and then you'll see what I do later when we get more towards the top of the wig. So you just watch me sew for 9 million years. So I got to the top, and I'm actually finishing off a weft right now, but I am actually going to cut the weft now that I reached the top of the wig, because with the fold over method you have a pretty good chance of making the wig look bulky. So when I get to the top, I actually cut my wefts just to make sure that it doesn't look too bulky and too thick and crazy. So yeah, and then you just continue to sew until you reach the closure. So this is the wig after it's all done. She looking pretty. I'm very excited. Like, I just love the color. So I'm showing you kind of like the different tones in the wig, and how there's some lime green, light lime green, and then darker lime green, and just all these different colors. So now I am actually going to straighten the hair first, because I want it to be a little bit more sleek. So I'm taking my Organics Brazilian Keratin Therapy flat iron spray, just to protect the hair from it being burnt when I flat iron it. And now I'm taking my Verb Ghost Oil to also help it be straighter when I do flat iron it. And I'm also using a flat iron and a blow dryer, and I'll tell you why once you see the blow dryer. But I am obviously parting the hair into different sections, and you know, taking small sections of hair, and I'm just gonna flat iron it. I also want to let you know that I'm using a Numi flat iron and blow dryer. I had it for years, barely use it, but now I'm wearing wigs, so it has a purpose. And I'm using a blow dryer just to make sure that the roots are really flat, so the hair doesn't look bulky. And I learned that from Alonzo Arnold on Instagram in one of his IG stories. I was like, ooh, that's smart. So I used that to make sure that the hair just gets really flat. And I just do that for the whole head, obviously, you know, just making sure that it's straight and flat and, you know, does what it's supposed to do before we like style it even more. So this is what she looks like. She's just super duper pretty. Like I love the color. I'm just obsessed. I'm obsessed. So we are going to do even more to this wig to make it look all fabuloso. And I did cut the hair a little bit off camera because this video is too long for it to be, you know, 90 minutes long to show the cutting and the trimming, but I did cut it a little bit. So now I'm going to take some water from a spray bottle and spray the hair because we're trying to do this cute wet look, and I'm going to comb it through just to make sure that the hair, all of the strands, are submerged in water. And then I'm taking the Diva Curl Super Cream, I think it's called, and just putting that all over the hair as well and scrunching the hair to get it that curly wavy look. And now I'm taking the wave spray to make it even more wavy and kind of messy. And so now we're going to take a few, you know, clips or clamps and, you know, just clamp it up so the, you know, hair can set and really get super duper curly. And we're just going to leave that for 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, obviously you let the hair down and see how much more curly it is. Like it's amazing. And so we're just going to repeat that for the whole head. You know, same process, water, curl cream, and you can use any curl cream, like probably like Shea Moisture or Cantu, or one of those is probably like, you know, less expensive than, you know, Diva Curl. So anything would work, but I just had that on hand because it was a sample and I'm a girl on a budget. And so yeah, same process, curl cream, beach spray. I'll also use the Not My Mother's beach wave spray as well because I had that. That's the one in the black spray bottle because the spray bottle from the original packaging did not work anymore. It just stopped working, and so I had to go and transfer it into a new bottle. So anyway, you know, we're just getting through the whole head, trying to get this wig done. Like she took forever though. Like I couldn't like she was like an intense project. Like it was too much, but it's totally worth it. Like I am so happy when I put on this wig, and just I love it. It's like if I was a wig that wasn't pink. So I'm just gonna let music play until I finish this wig because she's taking forever right now. Now, since I've finished curlifying the whole wig, I'm clipping up all of the hair and just leaving that overnight. I am also going to take my hairspray and just spray all of the hair just to make sure that all of the curls stay in place. Okay, so this is the final wig look. I want it to be very like wet and kind of messy because I feel like it's really like pretty like that when it's like a super loud color, for it to kind of be like messy instead of like neat, because I don't know, I've just been feeling the wet look lately. So this is kind of like in between the wet look and just wavy hair, because I kind of wanted beach waves, but then I kind of wanted the wet look, so I kind of did a combination of both. And so this is how it came out. I really like it. I thought I wouldn't like this length because I really like bobs, and then I like long hair. Like, I don't really like the in-between, because this is 14 inches, and I kind of like the length of it for the style that it is and the color that it is. And so I'm just really happy. It looks great. I feel fabulous in this hair. You know, it's like another persona, you know, with wigs, you just feel like you're all these different types of people. So this is more of like an electric lime than a like kind of highlighter lime that's super popular right now, which I will have a video about that coming very soon. I just kind of always wanted to do this color for a while, because when I was watching wig videos, that I came across this one video, which I might link down below if I can find it, but it was inspired by Tiana Taylor with this lime electric green hair, and I just fell in love with it ever since. And so I decided to do my own as my first wig. I wanted to do short hair because I figured it would be easier to manage when sewing. And yeah, so kind of the wig making process is very interesting. I'm not sure how, like, you know, how much I'm gonna do it, because it is like a lot of work. It really is like a labor of love. But, you know, the reward is really great because it's like a wig that you made. It's like your own custom wig that you made yourself, and you put your heart and soul into it. So it feels nice when you wear it, but it is a lot of work. You know, I just individually put rhinestones on stuff, but I can't sew a wig together. Like, it's just crazy. I will be posting more wig making videos. I will be posting more wig videos. I know this is, I think, the first one on my channel. And so I will be posting more. I have a lot in store. And yeah, and also, last thing before I go and ramble, but 14 Days of a Teasy Valentine is coming up like super duper soon, so stay tuned for that. Please subscribe, please turn on your post notifications, please share this video, and just stay up to date with 14 Days of a Teasy Valentine, because it is my favorite series. And if you don't know, 14 Days of a Teasy Valentine is a video series of 14 days of like different makeup looks and DIYs to help, you know, you, and to help myself as well, but you all to practice self-love and to be your own Valentine for Valentine's Day. And so that's kind of like my favorite series that I do, and I really enjoy it. It's always like, it's pretty much a really big event for me, and I really put my heart and soul into that as well. And so please stay tuned for that, because it starts February 1st, obviously. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, please subscribe, please like, please share. You know, you can comment down below if you made your own wig and how did you enjoy making your own wig and all of that good stuff. So of course, continue to love yourself, and I will see you soon. Mwah!